Welcome to another episode of the J-Card Podcast. Today's guest is the wonderful Jeremy Cohen, aka Jerm Cohen. He's a New York City-based director and photographer, and he's worked on a lot of music stuff, which we talk about, all the festivals he shot, but he also is a photographer outside of that. He works on a lot of really cool other projects.
And one of those is the Meet Cutes NYC book. We talk about it a lot. You should check that out. Also,
if you are an up-and-coming photographer and you're listening to this, he drops a lot of knowledge in the first segment. Definitely listen to it. You'll learn some really cool stuff. Look, as always, if you want to support us, tapeclub.substack.com is the best way to do that. But also, just listening to this show is a great way to do that as well. I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening, as always, and enjoy my conversation with Jeremy Cohen. Jerm Cohen, photographer, director, New York City-based artist. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Alexei.
Yeah, Jerm, I love how you're matching me with the energy. This is.
Thanks for having me, Alexei.
There we go. That's it.
I'm glad to be here.
Not only is he a director, he also takes direction super well. Jerm,
I like
honestly, thank you for coming on the show. Like, it's a pleasure. You know, every time I've done some stupid little podcast, you always agree to come on it, so I'm always very, very thankful to have you.
Alexei, the pleasure's all mine, or as I like to say, the pleasure's all mine!
There we go. And I like having these alternate takes, and I love that they're so loud that they'll blow out the listeners.
Sorry.
That's how we do
My
it.
bad.
You're supposed to wear earplugs, right, when you're in the pit, so they just gotta learn. Jerm is a...
They play this bass too loud nowadays. It's crazy. You gotta wear the earplugs in there.
You have to. I'm sure you do. Jerm, you've worked on a lot of music festivals as a photographer, and we're going to get into all that in a minute. But we like to start every show with the one big question: what has been stuck in your head lately?
Ooh, so I've been listening to... I've had two different albums on repeat lately that I've just been playing back to back, which is Ridin' by Kuko, which just came out. Always been a fan of his, and this new album took like a different direction than his usual stuff, and I really like it. And then randomly, like I got on my YouTube, I just got suggested a John Mayer video a couple months ago, maybe, just like the story about John Mayer's history and how he got to where he's at now. I didn't know that much about him, and I watched it. It's just like a mini YouTube documentary. And then after that, I listened to his first album, Continuum. I feel like for the first time, I never really sat down and listened to it, and I'm really into it. So I've had that album on repeat too.
John Mayer is one of those crazy artists who, like, I was thinking about this in the car the other day because I like to listen to the Grateful Dead station, and he's like the main person, I guess, in this new iteration of the Grateful Dead, Dead & Co., right? And they were playing a Dead & Co. version of one of the songs, and I was just like, man, his career is so interesting. Like, I didn't like him growing up. Like, not that I like actively hated him or anything. I just wasn't a listener, right? And then every time he comes on, like, as part of the Dead & Co. thing, or whenever like randomly I'll hear him talk about music, I'm like, this guy actually seems kind of chill. Like, I don't know.
He's likable.
Yeah, is that how you discover music usually? Is through like algorithmic stuff, or how do you discover it?
I guess lately more so, but no, a mixture of things. Like, I think word of mouth is still the most powerful way to discover things that you like in general, especially music. Like, I know a couple of the artists that I put on my list today are from, friends or that have listened to them, and I just got into them from there.
Yeah, and we will get to all those in the second segment. What has been stuck in my head is a song. I mentioned this on every show, but every single day, pretty much 95% of the days when I wake up, I have a song stuck in my head. Don't know why, but that's how it is. It's the song that was stuck recently is a song by a band called Happiness called "Great Minds Think Alike, All Brains Taste the Same," and that is because I'm self-promotion here, but I have an album coming out in a few months from the day we're recording this, and some blog asked me to write, like, okay, first of all, this is going to be fucked up, but with the state of music blogs these days for DIY underground bullshit like I make, half the time, dirty little secret, the artist is the one writing the fucking article. Like, blogs will just be like, hey, pick some songs that influenced you and write about them, and we'll share your post, basically. So yeah, that's one that I wrote about. But Happiness, I got to see them at Treefort in 2017. So that's kind of where I want to start. Jerm, you are obviously a great photographer outside of the music world, but it's a music show, so we're going to talk a little bit about music. The first time that you and I were at a music festival together in a working capacity, I was doing video stuff and you were doing photo stuff, and it was for Treefort Music Festival in 2022. So tell me a bit about maybe your history with shooting music festivals and any music-related stuff you've shot. How'd you get into it, and what are some favorite moments, I guess?
Yeah, I guess, well, honestly, one of my favorite moments was Treefort. That was such a fun festival to be at and photograph all these artists at different venues and discover a new town. Treefort was definitely a highlight. I'd say, as well as Gov Ball, just because I've been photographing. Actually, this year was the first year I didn't photograph it in a while. It was this past weekend. But I photographed it for like 8 years in a row, maybe. So between like coming back and shooting with the same people and having this whole camaraderie with other photographers and producers, etc., and then having the variables of different performers every year and slightly different stage situations, and of course weather, it keeps it interesting.
You've also, tell me if I'm wrong here, but Outside Lands, did you shoot that as well?
Yes, I've shot Outside Lands a handful of times too. I used to work a lot with Superfly. So Superfly does, I believe Superfly created Outside Lands and Bonnaroo.
Oh, okay. So Superfly is like a events company or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, I see. And so you said you liked Treefort, but then when you compare like Treefort to like Outside Lands or Bonnaroo or Gov Ball, Treefort's obviously like pretty far down the food chain from that. What were some differences that you noticed, or like, I guess I'm just surprised to hear you say like you liked it more, because it feels like when you look at the lineups, it's obviously like way smaller artists, so it might not be as much.
I mean, yeah, these Gov Ball, Coachella, all these big ones, they have the higher ticket acts, etc. But I find that with a higher ticket means just like way more people. And as I get older, I realize like I value more so being at, not like shows with no one there, but like more intimate shows or smaller shows, smaller venues. One, I'm short and like it's hard to even like as a spectator, as a photographer, you're in the pit, you get a good view, whatever. But like just going to shows, like as a short person, it's not that fun when it's like a huge artist. You're standing way back. You got to like be strategic about looking through the perfect amount of shoulders and heads, and then if they bump their heads too much, you can't see it. So you end up looking at the fucking screen, and then you're like, wait, why am I just like at home watching the live stream on YouTube in the comfort of my own couch? So yes, these artists are amazing, and there's like a bunch of people there. It all checks out, but I find that I personally enjoy like going to these artists are still all so talented. It's just some are more hyped than others. Like at Treefort, every single musician I saw was super interesting and talented and great stage performance. And I found that everyone in the audience was so into it, and there just wasn't as many people, and yet people were just as hyped, and everyone seemed to be having a good time. And also, it was my first time in Boise, and I just really liked the city there and the layout of the festival, how it was more like DIY. It wasn't like these like stages that just got built up and sponsored by a big brand up top. Like, I get it, it's fine, but like, Treefort was a lot more DIY, and like in the city of Boise, there were all these like venues or just like makeshift venues at different cafes or spaces, as well as actual concert venues, and it was just so cool to like bop around. And I just had a really good time at Treefort, and unexpectedly too. I mean, I expected to have a good time, but it exceeded my expectations.
So music is one of the many things that you photograph. You can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you consider yourself strictly like a music photographer, right?
Yeah.
So it's refreshing to me that you go to like these big festivals and events and like still find the joy in like watching these artists perform or watching people react to stuff. Cause, I'd covered Treefort for a long time, and straight up, by like the 7th or 8th year, I was like, all right, I just want to get the shit. I just want to go shoot the shit and then go hang out with my friends. Like, I don't really, I was like being a nihilist about it. So it's cool that you you still find the pleasure in that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you just take a step back, it's just like, just live music is such an incredible experience, even if you're doing it again and again and again. It's like there's kind of like nothing like it. I don't know. It's always special to hear someone perform, and especially being like when photographing it and just being like right up close and centered. It's always like just in the pit. It's just a privilege.
Do you try to like seek out festivals to go photograph, or is it usually like they'll come to you, or is it on your radar to do stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't normally seek them out. It's just like a lot of my career, honestly, is I just shoot stuff that I'm interested in, and then a lot of opportunities just happen to, if you put yourself out there, opportunities come your way. So that's kind of how music stuff started for me.
And that's kind of a good segue into what I had here as the next question. I wrote, other than music, what do you shoot? And I know that that's a very kind of a broad thing, so maybe to hone in a little more, what do you shoot other than music, but also how did you even get started in it? Because photography is hard to break into.
Totally. So how did I get started in photography or in music photography?
Let's do both, however you prefer to answer them.
How I got started in photography is a family vacation when I was 14 years old, I believe. My dad was always really into gadgets, and he went to a recent like convention or something where he bought a little point and shoot digital camera from Japan, I believe. And on this trip that we went on a family trip to Yellowstone National Park, which is an incredible family trip. At the time, I was like a kid who just wanted to stay home and play video games, which is funny. But
how all kids are. It's how all kids are.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't want to hike as a 14-year-old kid that just wanted to play video games and hang out with my friends in the neighborhood. So anyways, went on this trip. Little did I know this trip would change my life. And while we were hiking one day, my younger sister, who were about a year apart, she asked my dad to borrow the camera, and she started taking photos on it. And I kind of peeked over her shoulder and I saw the photos, and I thought they looked pretty cool, but I didn't want to tell her. And I wanted to take better photos. We were naturally competitive. So I started taking photos on it, and I realized I really liked the feeling of taking a photo. And when I got back from that trip, as one of my electives at high school, I did a film photography class, which was really cool. And from there, it's just like the ball kept rolling. I got really into photography.
So what were some of your like first maybe professional gigs? And I guess like let's see how did you get into music photography? Because that doesn't really pay that well.
Oh yeah,
unless you're at the 1% of the 1%.
Totally, yeah. I'm thinking about it now. I think I got into it because I realized at one point after I assisted a bunch of different photographers while I was in college for a job. I would make money assisting. But also it's how I learned so much by working with photographers in the field. Like, I assisted for a still life photographer and an editorial photographer, a portrait photographer. And I realized what I like to do is portraits the most. And I learned that to get work, you have to go out of your way and build up your portfolio when no one else is telling you to. So I started reaching out to like up and coming artists in New York and started just like, whether I had them come over and like photograph them in my apartment and my makeshift studio, or like walked around whatever neighborhood with them, I started photographing different artists. And from that, I think people knew I was like kind of photographing music, because I was photographing portraits of musicians, even though I didn't really photograph live music. At the same time, I had friends that I was shooting everything, and I had friends that were in bands and I would photograph them performing. So between those two different things, I had like a little bit of a music portfolio. And then I believe, it might have been Gov Ball. I think Gov Ball might have hired me to photograph their festival once randomly. And then from there, like just kept the ball rolling. I was photographing Gov Ball, and then I had a portfolio of music photography. And then I eventually shot Outside Lands and Bonnaroo, and yeah.
I was wondering, so when you were starting, right, with these kind of more local artists or artists who you were friends with or who you knew, Were there any specific artists who you remember shooting with, like that was very early in their career or something, or whatever, and they've grown since then, and you're like, oh damn, I got to work with this person before they got big or whatever, at a different time in their career?
That's a great question. I don't think I always kind of like hoped that happened, and some people definitely got like bigger respectively, but I don't think I photographed anyone at like the beginning of their career and they're like, you'd recognize their names today.
It's a weird thing because there's so many artists out there. They're like a dime a dozen, and now more than ever, it's just like anyone can fucking make music and upload it, right? So it's cool. For me personally, one thing, when I first started working, you know, again, same as you, like it was as an assistant or doing smaller roles on stuff. I had like a little DSLR, and I went out and I got to shoot Kendrick Lamar performing at the Apple Store in Santa Monica, California.
Wow.
And so strange, right? And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Whoever this guy is, whatever. And like, it was like no one knew who he was. It was really weird. He had just put out. He hadn't put out Good Kid, Mad City, and I think at that point,
he had Section 80.
Section 80 was just about to drop. It was Overly Dedicated was the one that was out at the time. And this was his little tour, I think, to help promote upcoming Section 80. It was like, hey, I'm going to play at these Apple stores or whatever. And so it was a strange place to be, you know what I mean?
That's
and
wild.
the thing is,
and he's at the top of the world now. Fast forward, he played at the Apple Store. Now he did the Apple halftime show.
Yes, there you go. It's a great... you know, his manager's probably... I was going to say, Dave's been probably building that shit from that moment or whatever. And that's the thing. I was only there because I was employed by someone who worked with him, you know, or worked with his team. So it's like, I don't know them at all. But like you said, you assisted photographers and were able to get in. I was lucky enough to be an assistant or an editor on some of these small jobs that I got entrusted with. From there, I was able to go and get into these weird little experiences. And kind of leads me into my next question. Any tips you might have for photographers who are trying to break in, or maybe I was going to say break into the music photography scene, but let's expand that. Just break into photography in general.
Yeah, I would say it's an exciting time because it's the best and worst time to be a photographer. The best because there are the most opportunities ever now, as well as everything is just more and more accessible. You could teach yourself through the internet. You could just if you want to make it happen, you can make it happen, but it is harder in some ways. But you just got to want it really bad. And I think the best way to make it happen is, one, ask yourself, do I want to do this? Because you're going to have to treat it like, you can't half-ass it. You got to treat it like more than a 9 to 5 maybe. And you got to make yourself the best version of yourself, make the best work that you can make. And that is by telling your story. Whatever that is, whatever you're passionate about, make work around that. And I'd say as a project, because anyone could take a good photo here or there, you know, be in the right place at the right time. You snap the photo, cool, whether it's like at a concert or the perfect sunset. But if you could tell a cohesive story with a series of images and share that, I think that's really appealing to a potential client.
That's a really great piece of advice, because I think a lot of people just go out and snap a bunch of shots and then you have this weird disparate portfolio. But if you build your portfolio through the idea of projects, you start to, maybe there's an appeal there. You can, like you said, tell stories. You have beginnings and middles and ends to why you went and captured this thing.
Totally. And people will take you more seriously, I think, because it's just like, it feels more professional and more serious. Yeah,
and it speaks a lot to what you said earlier. You said that you shoot what you like, and if you go to your site or to even to your Instagram, whatever, there are like these projects that are just like, they're projects that you went and did because you wanted to do them. And one thing that always comes to mind for me is like, I don't know what it was called specifically. Was it National Twins Day or something like that?
Oh yeah, I'm going back this summer.
Yeah, so tell the listeners, viewers, I guess, about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's Twins Fest is what it's called, and this summer is actually the 50th anniversary of Twins Fest, and it's in Twinsburg, Ohio, and it's twins. It's this one weekend every year for the past 50 years, in Ohio, where twins from around the world, mostly around the country, but also around the world, will come and meet up and do all these like fun activities for the weekend.
And see, that is like a cool project because I don't even know how you found out about that. I don't think anyone pays you to go, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I just go with my friend Nick, and it's just like really fun to document.
That's sick though. Yeah. That's like awesome, right? That there's a passion project that you do, and it's a portfolio piece, and it's also, you're taking pleasure in being there and practicing your craft. It's awesome.
Thanks, man.
So that's maybe a decent segue into what projects you are currently working on. So if you can, maybe tell us a little bit about some of those.
I just finished a really exciting project that I am excited to share. Which, did I just say exciting twice? It's exciting.
That's how exciting it is.
Yeah, that's how exciting it is. So, yeah, I photographed Meet Cutes, the book. So I don't know if you're familiar, but Meet Cutes NYC is like a TikTok, Instagram account where they're known for going up to couples on the street in New York, and they just say, "Hey, are you guys a couple? How'd you meet?" And then hear their story. And it's like, it's none of it is planned. It's like it's all like genuine love stories of just people on the street, and it's just like very wholesome and very heartwarming, a lot of it. And so a lot of people, it connects with a lot of people online, because you see a lot of these, man on the street shows where it's all staged, and it's just it's just like kind of clickbaity and staged and not real. This is actually real and feels good to watch, I think. Anyways, they got a photo book deal, and they picked me as the photographer, which I was very hyped about. And I've been photographing multiple couples for the last year or so, and we're just in the final stage. We just announced that it's available for pre-order, and we're just finishing up, tying up some loose ends and stuff with the book, but it will be out this fall.
That's amazing. So we're going to put links in the show notes so you can go pre-order it, or maybe if at the time this is out, if it's available to order. Either way, you can go and check it out. Where did you come in terms of, because they basically went back through their catalog, so to speak, of couples that they've spoken with, and then they reached out, and then you came in and shot them?
So yes, it's a little confusing. So it was actually a mix. They wanted to feature some couples that were already documented on their pages for the book, but they also wanted to feature new couples that they haven't shared yet online. So it was a combination of me coordinating to meet up with these couples wherever they live in the New York City area and photographing them, as well as I would go with the guy who asked the questions. It's the same guy every time, and his name happens to also be Jeremy, which is really funny because so I would photograph over his shoulder while he asked these people their stories, and I would get the actual authentic moments of them, those sweet moments of them looking over at each other and smiling, and
that's awesome. So they're real. They're real photos.
Oh, they're real. Yeah. I mean, I guess half of them I met up with these couples, and we recreated those moments. I would just ask them questions, and they would naturally look over at each other and talk about each other. So it's still real, some of them, but it wasn't the actual first time they were being filmed. They were prepared for those, but then the other half, they were real. Yes.
I mean, that's amazing that you got a chance to do that, and that they found you they picked you to do this, because those are intimate moments,
Yeah, totally. And it's just right up my alley of stuff I genuinely enjoy to shoot.
Yeah. So, I mean, you already mentioned that when you're speaking about music, you said you like intimate shows. You mentioned you like portraiture. This is literally intimate portraits.
And I love love. And,
yeah, you love love.
And honestly, while shooting this stuff, I'm photographing it while smiling. It's wild. I'm just snapping away pics while they're talking about their stories, and I'm just like this.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I mean,
I'm trying to hold my smile back because I'm in work mode, but
sure, yeah. You don't want to let them know that you're stoked to be there or anything.
Yeah. No, but it's super cute.
Did any of those meet cutes happen through music? That you were there? No, maybe? I don't know.
Ooh, that's a great question. Oh my God, there's so many stories. It's so funny. It's the younger couples, a lot of them met on dating apps, which is just like kind of how it is nowadays. Well, most of them meet on dating apps. Of course, like not everyone meets on a dating app, but we interviewed couples of all ages and genders, etc. And like the older couples, some of them have met on dating apps, but most of them meet through an actual like meet cute. And I'm trying to think if any of them met through music. There must be one. I can't remember off the top of my head.
If you're watching this or listening or whatever, you can go look it up. Go just look up Meet Cutes, and you can go see if anyone met through music. That's because I was trying to tie it back to music, because technically it's a music show, but
right.
it is what it is. All right, well, speaking of music, we're actually going to get into music right after this break. We're going to get to Jerm's mixtape, which is very eclectic. It's very eclectic. We'll talk about it more.
I'm an eclectic guy.
You're an eclectic guy who loves love and takes direction really well. After this break, we will get right into it. Okay, we're back with the most important part of the show. It's the actual mixtape. It's what everyone's looking forward to. And look, the tease was not just a tease. This is an eclectic-ass mixtape, Jerm. But I guess before we start, how did you pick these? Was there any sort of rhyme or reason, or was it just like what was coming to you?
Yeah, I guess when you asked me, the way I listen to music sometimes is between getting suggested by the algorithm or by a friend or something I hear out in the world. I'll just like click it in my favorites is one of the, and then sometimes I'll just listen to my favorites. And lately I've just been jamming out. When you asked me, I've been jamming out to some of the favorites on repeat. And this was that's why it might be eclectic, because there's no rhyme or reason to a lot of it. It's just like a song I for some reason I jabbed with and just favorited it.
I mean, I love it because it's gonna be weird, and we're gonna hear like different styles of stuff. So it's really cool. I'll tell you what I do when I hear a song I like. I go to the album and I just select the entire album and add it to my liked songs, and that way I'm always discovering.
The sad part is some of these songs are just straight up singles.
Yeah, that's true. There's probably more singles than there are albums these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this first one, that
kind of relates to Meet Cutes.
Does it?
Yeah,
because they're single.
A couple singles.
An album is a couple. That's pretty good. I like it. All right.
Yeah, I'm trying here.
I like it. It's good. Meet Cute's available now everywhere available for pre-order. I don't know when this is coming out. Okay, the first song that you picked is Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac. This one was off of an album, and this one is I would say the biggest song of the entire list, in my opinion, right? It's got over 1 billion plays on Spotify. What's your history with Fleetwood Mac, or why this one? Why Everywhere?
It's embarrassing. My girlfriend makes fun of me. There's just like some songs, it also applies to movies, that are just like so popular. It's just like everyone knows it. But I think I listened to this song like for the first time kind of recently.
Really?
I listened to it and I was just like, I just had that initial gut reaction that I really enjoyed this song. Like the opening, how it's just like, I just felt like it was, I think it was like a muggy day, and I just heard that and it felt like there was sunshine all of a sudden. And then I listened to that on repeat back to back a bunch of times over the next couple of weeks. And then you asked me what song to put on here, and I was like, all right, got to put this one.
I mean, that's a huge part of it, though, is the environment where you hear a song. Because like sometimes you're just in the right place and in the right mindset, and you hear it and it hits.
Yeah.
And if you'd heard it, maybe you had heard it like years ago, and it just didn't hit because it wasn't time. You weren't ready to grab it or whatever.
That's fair. That could be very true, honestly.
It was also recently-ish in like a really annoying commercial with Will Ferrell, like for some for PayPal, I think. And,
is this the one that they're airing on the NBA Finals right now?
It might be, yeah.
The kid on the airplane, and then he's in the hot tub. And...
I think it might be, and I think he's basically singing this song, so maybe that. Yeah.
The other thing is, I watched this show on Prime, which is, what is it called again? Daisy Jones and the Six. Okay. Which is based on Fleetwood Mac, I believe.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And it's a really good show. It's kind of slept on. I haven't heard anyone really talk about it, but I really liked it.
Never even heard of it, but I might have to check it out. Let's listen to a little bit of Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac. Next up, you have a tune that is so different than this Fleetwood Mac tune. And this is going to be a theme, like I said, throughout this whole thing. The song is called Crash Out, and it's by Dax Flame. I don't know who Dax Flame is. I don't know Crash Out. When I listened to it, I was like, there's something charming about this tune. But why don't you tell the people a bit about this song and why you picked it?
Oh man, I was wondering if you were familiar when I added this to my mixtape. But yeah, Dax Flame is actually a comedian, but he started putting out music. And I think a big reason I like this track is because I'm a fan of his comedy. And it's he's like transitioning into music, maybe. I don't know. It's just like, I find him so funny and relatable and delightful. And so I just listened to this song, and it's just like, you know, if I just randomly listened to this song without knowing who he was, I wouldn't really mess with it as much. But just being familiar with his game, it's just it's a song I actually play.
Do you remember how you discovered Dax Flame in terms of his comedy? Was it like just... I do. Yeah. My friend Nick sent me his video, and he's like, dude, this is like your exact type of humor. And I watched it. I watched the one like TikTok or Instagram or whatever he sent me, and then it was an immediate follow, and I was always excited to see what he's dropping. But he does it differently than any other comedian. He really plays into his awkwardness and just like it's kind of like Nathan Fielder. It's like there's like he's walking this line of like, is he actually like weird like this, or is he playing a character, or I cannot tell. And just like a bunch of long pauses and just it's interesting. You describing him kind of explains the song a little better too, because like when I listened to it, I was like, man, this song feels so like it feels like the singer is just detached, and it's like this ironic detachment, but it's like it's like a house track almost, or something that's influenced maybe by like hyper pop type shit or whatever. But I was like, what is this? And so, you know, hearing your backstory gives it a lot more context. Let's listen to a little bit of it. Here is Crash Out by Dax Flame.
She's looking at my eyes, and I'm looking at her mouth. And she wanna ask me why I'm crashing out. Said I'm crashing out on a Friday night.
All right, next up, we're moving on to Gunna with Goddamn. So tell me a bit about Gunna and about Goddamn.
So it's actually, this is the first year, maybe it started to happen last year, but definitely this year, I almost don't listen to rap like at all anymore, where that used to be my main genre, especially for like running and working out and just like in the car or whatever. Just, I don't know, I love New York rap music. And this past like year and the prior year and this year, I've been leaning more towards like classical songs and just like jazz and newer bands and indie folk, etc.
Yeah, just getting more kind of getting outside of a like monolith or something.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was I used to listen to a lot of Drake, as you probably know, and just like between like I'm just not a Drake fan anymore, like at all. Well,
also, you know, at a certain point, like you kind of have enough of a certain sound, or it starts to become maybe predictable, right? Like you kind of understand what's about to happen.
Totally.
I remember when there was one album that Drake put out in like 2018, the summer I think of 2018. It was like it's like 30 or 40 tracks. It felt like, but that's the problem, right? Is that I describe it that way. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was way too long, way too predictable.
Quality,
and it was just like I'm not interested. Like I understand what's about to happen, and you're not really taking me by surprise anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that's a lot of, I mean, again, talking about monoliths and like just monocultures, even rap, you know, trap specifically, it was dominating the pop charts, and now we're in this era where like maybe more traditional pop is dominating the pop charts, Sabrina and stuff like that, right? So it is. We've definitely experienced a departure from that, but so why is it on here then?
So this is actually a really funny story, and you'll definitely be able to relate to this one. At the beginning of this year, one of my first gigs for the calendar year was randomly to it's like through a friend of a friend of a friend needed an editor for this a video editor. And I didn't really do that, but like my January is always really slow as a freelancer. And so I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll edit it. Turns out this video that I was editing, it was like this guy that put on this event and put a lot of money into it. But when it came to the actual video coverage, he ended up asking these college kids on the street to shoot it, and they were down to do it for free because there was celebrities there and stuff. Anyways, the footage that I got to edit with was the worst, shittiest footage possible. Even if you tried to shoot it bad, it was even worse than that. There was just nothing to pull from it, etc. Anyways, I needed to make a minute, a 45-second or minute-long cut to it, and it was there was just nothing good to work with at all. But the one thing that was that I did, I ended up making it happen. You know how it is editing. It's you gotta pull some tricks and work some magic, and that's what I tried doing. And I had to go through it again and again and again. The song for that video, it was this song.
Oh,
and
wow!
You that he requested. And you'd think I'd hate it because of this experience, because I hated this experience so much. It was just one of those awful freelance experiences that there was so much back and forth too, that he wanted more of this. And I was like, bro, there's no footage. Tell me where the footage is. You want me to put it in there? I'll put it in there. Just give me some direction. I'm trying everything I can do. Anyways,
you're talking to an editor. Yeah, I know this all too well.
Yeah, you know how it is. You know how it is. So this is the song that I would just listen to again and again. And you would think I would hate it, but I actually really like the song. And then I started listening to the song after that, here and there, and
that is so funny because I think what happens most times is
totally
it just takes you back to that place. You're I never want to fucking hear this thing again. But that's that's how you know it's a good tune, is that it was able to supersede your personal experience.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of when I was a kid waking up. I used to, instead of an alarm clock, I had a CD alarm clock. So, and I didn't have that many CDs. So for, I don't know, 3-4 months straight, I would wake up to the same CD, and it would be the same song would start first, which would be the first song. And I remember specifically for a whole calendar year, I listened to the Franz Ferdinand album, and anyways.
And then after that, you hated it.
Oh yeah, I hated it after that. I couldn't stand it. But then I kept listening to it because, waking up for school was a hateable experience for me. So I didn't want to ruin other music. So I just kept it Franz Ferdinand, he just took one for the team,
I like that. You were look, this thing, I already hate it. I don't want to put other bands through this shit. We're just gonna keep hating this thing. I did the same thing with a band called Junior Senior. They had a song called Move Your Feet, which I really liked, and that song actually was in a commercial last year at some point during some sports event as well, and it kept coming on, and every time that commercial would come on, it'd be it's fucking triggering.
Nice.
I was like, what? No, I can't listen to this. All right. Yeah, of course. Will Ferrell back at it again. Okay, let's get to this tune. It is called Goddamn, and it is by Gunna.
I don't get no rest, goddamn. I want my respect, goddamn. I've been running up a check, yeah. When we forget, ease my stress, goddamn. When she get that name.
Next tune you have is called In Heaven, and it is by Miette Hope. So this one, I knew Fleetwood Mac, I knew Gunna to some extent, but I don't know Miette Hope. So tell me about Miette Hope.
Yeah, Miette's great. So I'm friends with Miette, and she's awesome and super talented. I watched her perform live in the last couple of months at this one little show that another friend put on, that Dave put on, actually, Dave Krugman.
Yes, friend of the show.
Yes, and this song, I mean, it's one of her top songs on Spotify, rightfully so, because it is such a good song. I think it just I like songs that are not only fun to listen to while you're just kicking back and chilling, but also I love running, and any song that gets me kind of in this certain mood while running a little upbeat and just positive. It's like, this is kind of what I got from this song. And this song's also a collaboration with another artist that I'm actually not familiar with, but I am familiar with Miette.
Yeah, it's it's like a house track, and it's cool. Like, it's very of what is in vogue right now. I feel like that's one big blind spot for me, I will say, as a listener. Like, electronic music, I just don't really get too far into it, because I think I'm maybe the flip side of you. If it gets the BPMs get too high, I'm just like, all right, I don't know about this. Like, for electronic music, I like it when the BPMs are low. For music with like drums, I like it when the BPMs are high. So it's all messed up. But yeah, this is a great track. So let's listen to a little bit of it. Here is In Heaven by Miette Hope. The next tune you have on here is called NAUSEOUS, and it is by an artist called PERRIS, PERRIS. So tell me a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so transparently, this is another friend. And
I just want to say, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you're putting your friends on, because like, that's the way to do it. That's literally what music and culture is putting the stuff you like and the people you know on.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, we all, like, our friends are so talented. I don't know. Obviously, I'm biased, but the songs are actually generally really good. So, yeah, PERRIS PERRIS is one of my good friends, and he's been making music for a long time now. And I really admire him with his new stuff very lately. He's stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit more and switching it up from how he made music in the past. And this is kind of one of his. This is like his first song where he's really making a different sound for himself and singing a little bit more. And I just really like it. I could hear how much he enjoys making a song like this through the music. So I don't know if that's a little bit of me knowing him. I'm able to enjoy it more, and because I could tell through how he's singing, it's like, it's just great. So yeah, highly recommend checking out this track.
I think I noticed that too. Like, I actually, I don't know his older stuff, but I did notice that he was singing on this, and I was like, man, this is a really cool sound and a really cool approach. And I think that's the best thing you can do as an artist. For me, I mean, I'm speaking as a listener. I love when I'm not getting the same shit over and over again from an artist. This is hot take. This is why I don't really like the Strokes, is because it's like, dude, every fucking song sounds the same. It's like rich boys.
I don't like the Strokes either.
Yeah, it's rich boys cosplaying as like garage punks or whatever. And hopefully this gets buried and doesn't get blown up, because whatever. But like, you know what I'm trying to say though. And I like that PERRIS is, pushing himself out of a certain box and exploring other areas of music. I think it's really cool. Let's listen to a little bit of it. NAUSEOUS by PERRIS.
I'm nauseous from that flight. I'm told I'm about it like I'm out of Arizona. Long distance don't bite. I know where I belong for now.
Next up is a tune by James Blake called You're Too Precious. And this is sort of where I gotta say, I'm actually about to contradict what I said just a little bit ago. His songs are maybe a little too slow for me. I don't know. But what
the BPMs are too slow for you now?
I gotta say, I've only heard like a handful of James Blake songs, so maybe I need to go and re-listen.
You just need the perfect amount of BPMs, huh?
I know. I need those BPMs to be like matching whatever I'm feeling on that day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But tell me why this tune, because I know James Blake has a wide catalog, so why You're Too Precious?
Totally. So I actually got into James Blake because my girlfriend Kylia, it's her favorite artist of all time. So just to be closer with her, I started listening to James Blake and started to get into him. And of course, he's an incredible artist. Like, I've heard a song here or there from him. But yeah, this is so lame saying this out loud, but this is her favorite James Blake song.
I think that's cool.
I've been listening to it a lot, and it's a really good song, and it was in my favorites when I was looking through. And to be honest, I just threw it in the mixtape. I was like, saw it, I was like, done. This is going in the mixtape.
Yeah, hell yeah. One of in my notes, my show notes here, like, I have a few general questions that I just have written that are like, in case we need something to throw in to add time, right? I'm sure everyone has these. One that I have in here is artists who are you know are like widely respected and you have a great deal of appreciation and respect for them, but you don't listen to them. That's James Blake for me. Like,
Interesting.
I
Okay.
appreciate him, and I know he's got to be a genius because so many brilliant musicians look up to him and love him. I just have never really listened. And, you know, there's a lot of artists like that for me, but James Blake is one of them. But you know what? I'm about to listen to him right now because here's a little bit of You're Too Precious by James Blake. The next song is by a band who actually made an appearance in the pilot episode of this show, the first episode with co-founder of Rue Defense Tape Club, Graham W. Bell. It's a band called Junior Varsity, and the song you picked by them is called New York. So tell me a bit about Junior Varsity, because I hadn't heard of them until we recorded that first episode a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and you also just mentioned this band that you woke up to is Junior Senior.
Yeah. So we're
Wow.
I was so close to getting to Junior Varsity, but never got there.
Are you an Alexei Junior?
I'm not an Alexei Junior.
I'm not a Jeremy Junior.
A junior's a little much. It's a little self-indulgent, you know?
Yeah. So how I got into Junior Varsity, I guess, oh man, I have a story for everything before this, but this band, I have to admit, I think it came through the algorithm. Sometimes I listen to music mostly on Spotify, and when I like a band, oftentimes, and I just don't necessarily want to listen to an album, but I want to listen to music kind of like that, and I don't want to look up a playlist or make a playlist, I'll just click that band's radio. And it's just like a really good way to discover other music for me, is what I find.
Do you remember? I was gonna say, do you remember whose radio you were listening to? And
that's a great question. I think what was happening, the way I discovered them, I started to go back and listen to some like emo music, like some Brand New, some Census Fail, and then kind of like, I think I worked my way up from there until I got to Junior Varsity by going through different radios.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I use that radio function all the time too. Like, Spotify is so fucking weird, man, because like, yes, we all know that it's bad for artists, like, but also it is a pretty decent music discovery tool if you decide to use it.
Totally.
You know.
You know what I just thought of too that's really sad? Is like, I don't know, in like 50 years from now maybe, when the kids think of radio, or you think of the word radio, do you think, are we going to think of like Spotify radio instead of what actually radio was?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not confident that Spotify is going to stick around for that long, because to me it feels like the idea of satisfying your shareholders and like corporate mergers happening and all that are going to outlive, like they're going to destroy this period of discomfort, right? So like, we're uncomfortable with Spotify. It changes all the time. They're making, they're taking this off. They're removing this feature. The playlisting doesn't work. The search function doesn't work, whatever. Will Spotify even still be the same thing in 50 years? No, it'll probably have been sold for parts, or it'll probably have merged with something. And who's to say that radio won't make a comeback? I feel like people maybe want that kind of more curated thing. That's what we're banking on. That's why we're doing this show, so people can get a look at a playlist that you like. And even Apple, they have like curated shows and curated playlists. So who the fuck knows is my answer. I don't know. But let's hope that people still listen to the radio.
Definitely.
Let's listen to a little bit of this. This is New York by Junior Varsity. Okay, this next one, this is awesome. This is some brain rot shit. What is this? It's called Plug Walk. It's by Drew Key 5000 though. It's not the actual Plug Walk. This is some like Sinatra you wrote.
Well, I put that in quotations because that's how someone coined it on Reddit, like the genre of music Sinatra, which I thought was really funny. Dude, this like duo of kids. Have you listened to them?
I listened to this song, yeah.
Just the song, okay.
Yeah.
You have to watch the video. Half of it is the visuals. These guys, and the way it's edited, it's like lo-fi, and the way they're dressed, it looks like they're straight out of like the 40s, the 50s. And they pretty much remix these well-known rap songs in their own. They seriously created this own genre of Sinatra or whatever you want to call it, and I can't stop listening to it. This is just like one of the many songs they kind of have remixed. I found that they also go by the Bum Bum Bums online, because they do a lot of this. Like, they have made some original songs. I personally am not as much of a fan of the originals as I do like their covers of these rap songs. It's just such a interesting mix of like this 40s 50s sound with like new age rap music. When you play the song after this, can you play the video? I guess no, it's a podcast.
I mean, there is a video element to it.
Okay.
Sure, why not? I'll try to put a little bit of the video in there. It's
because that's part of the experience,
and the song's only like a minute long, right, or something like that. It's real short. Now, my question is, and again, I don't know these kids, so I'm not trying to like make an accusation here, but are they actually singing this? This is AI? What's going on? You know, I don't know.
I would guess it's auto-tune and they're actually singing it. But yeah, no, it could be AI. I can't tell. All I know is I enjoy it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a whole deeper conversation about where do you draw the line about the use of artificial intelligence. I'll have you back on sometime and we can have a whole hour-long talk about it.
Totally. I would argue in this specific instance, it almost doesn't matter, because it's like this brand new sound and this new idea that they came up with. There's no, and they really, if they did use AI in this situation, they really used it as a tool to like bring their vision to life.
Do you think it's a joke song, or do you think this is like what they actually care about?
I think both.
Both. Okay, fair. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
It can be. Yeah. Why not be both, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's listen to a little bit of it. Here is a Plug Walk by Drew Key 5000, or maybe the Bum Bum Bums.
I don't even understand how the fuck my plug talk. Pick him up in a space coupe. I don't let my plug walk. Skirt. Pull up in a space. New freak had to come.
We have two more tunes left. The one that you picked as the penultimate song, it actually leads really nicely into the last one. And this is where, again, you just threw me for a loop. But you picked a song by These Sacred Souls called Will I See You Again? These Sacred Souls, an amazing band from Brooklyn, I believe. So tell me a bit about...
Are they?
I think they are.
Wow.
Yeah, tell me a bit about why you picked this one.
Dude, like I've been like really into this band. I didn't realize they're from Brooklyn. That makes me like them even more. I feel like they're a band that would totally play at Treefort too.
Yes, they very well may have played there in the past, but yes, they would fit in very nicely at Treefort.
But yeah, they're just like they're a modern band that has such like this like old timey sound while still feeling modern, and just like beautiful vocals, and it's just like I think I've been into them this past year, which I also happen to be shooting this Meet Cutes book, so I just got love on my mind, and they a lot of their songs feel like love songs to me.
Yeah, I mean they are, and it's a very old school sound. I will say, correction, they are from San Diego, but the label that they're on is Daptone, and Daptone is a very famous Brooklyn label, so that is kind of why I put them in that sphere. Daptone actually, I believe, was it's on there. You remember where I used to, I shouldn't even be saying. Remember where I used to live in Brooklyn, in that tall building?
Yeah.
So right out that back door, when you go out the back door, that is where the original Daptone house was.
Oh,
so
nice.
like it's like where they recorded like Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, and Charles Bradley, Menahan Street Band, all that kind of stuff. I believe was recorded in that house. So very
in
very
Bushwick.
cool stuff. In Bushwick, yeah.
Awesome.
I don't think it's there anymore. I mean, maybe it's still there. I don't know. It's just a matter of time until it becomes a sweet green, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, let's listen to a little bit of it. Here's Will I See You Again by These Sacred Souls. And then the last track that you picked, usually when people sequence it as the last track, it's for a reason. It has some sort of meaning. So why is Freckles by the new Mastersounds the last track on your mixtape?
This is a bit at dinner recently. I wasn't familiar with this band. A friend's boyfriend is like a super fan of them, and I thought it was interesting. And then at this group dinner where I met him for the first time, I part of my humor, I just was like, I'm gonna like casually talk about them because it's like a pretty niche band apparently. So I'm gonna casually like talk. It was like a group of like 8 people. So I casually talked with someone across the table about the new Mastersounds just to see this guy's like ears perk up and just be really excited because I just thought it would be like a funny, cute moment. And I did that, and I think I got him for a second, but then we talked about it for a little bit, and just hearing his passion about this band and just it made and also like playing that little joke, I guess, it made me at the least want to give them a shot and start listening to them. So when I went home that next day, I started listening to them, and been jiving to them in the apartment, and they're really good. They're
cool. I mean, this Freckles song is really cool. Honestly, I was like super surprised to see you put it on here. When I listened to it, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is like so unusual, but it just because again, the whole playlist is super eclectic. So but I mean, between These Sacred Souls and New Mastersounds, there is like a nice, it lands, you landed the mixtape. So you did it. Let's hear
I landed it. You think it's a good mixtape?
Of course it's a good mixtape. It's what you wanted. Every mixtape's a good mixtape. It's because you wanted to, it's a reflection of the person who made it. There's humanity in it in that sense, It's not just a Spotify radio or some shit, right?
Right, yeah.
I don't know. Okay, let's listen to a little bit of it. Here's Freckles by the new Mastersounds. And there it was. That was the mixtape, Jerm Cohen's mixtape. It was amazing. It was one of a kind. No one else will ever make a mixtape like this, because I'm fairly sure Plug Walk by Drewkey 5000 will be taken off of all streaming platforms by the time this is out. I think, who was it? Rich the Kid? I think Rich the Kid will file the suit. I don't know. If you are listening to this on the paid, we're still figuring this out, but if you're listening to this on the paid feed, I think you can wait till the end of this and you'll hear all these songs in their entirety. If not, go listen to them somewhere else. Go listen to them on Spotify. I don't know. But now you know about them. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to play one quick game when we get back called No Flash, One's Trash. All right, No Flash, One's Trash. This is our version of like the One's Gotta Go game. So I'm going to give you a category and then 3 items, and you got to get rid of one. The reason it's called No Flash is because when you're doing photography at a show, technically the rule is no flash, right?
Clever.
I think. Yeah. I don't know. Look,
99% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. We had to.
No, you're right.
We had to make this at the very last minute, and we did what we could. All right. Here we go.
I like it.
I think we're going to get into some controversial things here. I think you're going to have to think kind of hard on these, and you're going to be torn in some of these instances in making your decisions. But I would like to know your thought processes on these as we go.
Okay.
So, No Flash, One's Trash. Let's start. You can never work one of these again. Intimate shows, mid-sized clubs, or festival main stages. Which one is trash? Which one are you trashing and why? I know you mentioned earlier you like intimate shows.
Yeah, festival main stages is going in the trash.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me why.
Dude, they're so hard to shoot most often because unless you're like that artist photographer, you're either not going to get to shoot it if it's like one of the main acts of the night. And if you are, these stages nowadays, because these festivals are so huge, the stages are so tall. Like, I want to say they're like, I don't know for a fact, but I would guess like 10 feet.
So you're maybe not even getting the best.
And then they're not at the edge of the stage often. So then they're standing back and like and then there's like a bunch of speakers and then sometimes like a bunch of smoke that like, I guess looks cool for like the broadcast recording and like in person, but like for camera and shooting below with like the lighting going different directions, it's like it could be really hard to shoot for those reasons, and hence it being stressful and not as enjoyable.
Wow, that is not the answer I expected, honestly. I expected you were going to trash the mid-sized clubs because they're neither here nor there, but I never thought about it that way, that the festival main stage, you might be too close to have the best view, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That reminds me, one time I went to a Brooklyn Nets game and I sat really, really close, but before I knew it, it was like the middle of the third quarter, and I hadn't comprehended anything that was going on because I was so overwhelmed and I was so close. I was like not even watching the basketball. I was just like, holy shit, what's happening? So yeah, I guess it makes sense. So festival main stage, see ya, you're in the trash. Next topic, I guess. You can never shoot one of these again. So this is about the part of the show. So you can either never shoot the first 3 songs again, you can never shoot the encore again, or you can never shoot backstage candids again.
So I love backstage portraits. They're like the best. They're my favorite part. And the first 3 songs, first of all, that's like what you're usually allowed to shoot oftentimes, is they let you photograph the first 3 songs. So I'm kind of used to that. And also I find that it's like often when the artist is most like energized is at the beginning, come out jumping, really exciting, smiling to the crowd, interacting with the crowd more so. And then also if you're photographing the encore, that especially like at a music festival, that means you're missing the beginning of the next set or wherever you have to go. If you shoot the first 3 songs, after that, I feel like you could get almost everything oftentimes, and then you could go on to the next performance.
So encores are in the trash.
Yeah.
Encores are also overrated these days because everyone's expected to do one. It's like, is it really an encore,
Right, no.
All right, moving on. This one's a little bit more of a kind of gear-related one. You can never use one of these focal length ranges again. So we're breaking it up into 3 ranges. Up to 50 millimeters, then 50 to 85, and then 85 and up. So one has got to go in the trash. And also, if you can explain maybe as you're talking about this, what each one does.
Totally. And is this just for music photography or photography in general?
That's a good question. Let's say photography. Let's say music photography for this one.
Okay, my answer is the same for both ones. I feel like you could have made this question a little harder. Yeah. It's such an easy answer.
It's going to be the middle range, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking about making it 50 to 135 and then 135 and up. Does that make it harder?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think it's still an easy answer for me. It's, the middle one has to go in the trash for sure.
Why is that?
Well, up to 50 millimeters, that's like, there's so much to work with within there. I love shooting wide, and even at 50 millimeters, that could be kind of tight for me. And then if I can't shoot just from 50 to 85 or even 50 to 135, shooting concert photography on a 100 to 400 millimeter lens, it could, you could get super tight, interesting shots. And the 50 to 85 or 50 to 135 can be quite inconsequential in comparison.
Damn, so that one was the easiest one of the bunch. Yeah, but guess what?
Definitely.
The next one and there's 2 more left, and they're both really fucking hard. So,
all right, hit me.
Yeah,
I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, you can never work with any of these subjects again. That's a bigger thing. So here's the 3 things: shooting any music-related stuff, shooting anything in New York City, or shooting portraits of any kind. So one's got to go: music-related stuff, New York City as a location, or portraits of any kind.
It is kind of an easy one, actually, because I mean, no, it's hard and easy at the same time because I love all these things, but the answer off the bat is very apparent, and I hate to do you dirty on your show, but it's the music photography.
Hey, you know what? The other ones, I went a little too big with the other ones, I think.
I love New York City. I love living here. It's a big part of my identity, and I love photographing everything and everyone New York City related. Portraits, that also falls under it. I love meeting people. I'm a people person. Meeting them, telling their story, taking their portrait. That experience is one of my favorite things to do in this world. And it could also some of these people I photographed. Are they allowed to be musicians, or is that
No,
is that
music
not okay?
related stuff is gone. So if anybody does
that's
anything
fine.
music related,
So I won't photograph any musicians anymore. Damn.
Okay.
But
well, a lot of people play music these days. So
And you know what? I'll take it further. I could almost look at this as a positive thing. Because now, no, listen, hear me out. Okay. Because if I'm not allowed to photograph anything music related anymore, I could go to a show and live in the moment and not feel like I have to record it and document it, and I could actually enjoy it. So,
Let's
because that's the
fucking
main
go.
problem that's the main problem with me in music and photographing these festivals, etc. It's like some really cool stuff I'm getting to experience it, but I'm experiencing it in a different way. I'm in work mode. I'm not like really taking it in, and my mind's like looking for this type of shot or like waiting until they go this certain way. And like, I'm like half enjoying it. I'm getting to be, but like, dude.
yeah, it's the best.
It would be a relief.
That's the best answer. You spun it and it was perfect, and I agree with you 100%. Beautiful answer. Here's the last question.
Thanks.
This one's hopefully harder. You have to delete one forever. And it's gone forever. No one's ever going to see it. Your first published project, your most viral project, or your most personally important project. One has got to go in the trash.
Yeah, this is a hard one. I'll give you that.
Thank you. 1 for 5.
But I would say the first one, like the first project ever published.
And so tell me a bit, I guess, about these. What is the first published project?
Yeah, it depends how you define project, but I'd say my first published project is on this. I think the website is still alive. Like, I made a website while I was in high school, and I put like one of my first projects on there, which I would say is like exploring abandoned buildings with friends.
Nice. A
And
classic
so-
first
yeah,
project.
it's a classic. It's like the equivalent of, I don't know. It's like anyone gets into photography. It's like that's what you're getting into.
But you're going to keep the most viral project, and you're going to keep the most personally important project. I'm more interested out of those. What is your most personally important project? Does that come to mind easily, or is that sort of too deep of a question?
No. I'd say I would probably say my rooftop series.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my project I'm most proud of. And especially because I just feel like it can't be recreated at all, because it was documented from there's so many like variables and factors that went into it that I'm confident that just can't be recreated at all. So that feels special to me.
That was an incredible project. I have a print on my wall upstairs. I have one of them. So
yeah.
It's real quick, in like one sentence, can you describe what it is for people who might not be familiar?
Totally, yeah. So this was during COVID lockdown when New York City was the epicenter. From my apartment, I lived on the 7th floor of a building that had rooftop access in Bushwick, and my rooftop access had 360 views. So whether it was from my apartment window or from my rooftop, this was during like when COVID was the worst and you were supposed to stay inside of your apartment. Also at the same time that like New York City after a long winter started to get perfect outside. So the one thing you were allowed to do is go on your roof and get some fresh air. That was like allowed during this like short window of time. And so in this neighborhood in Bushwick, a lot of people happen to have roof access. So I noticed that people were going up to their roofs and doing all their activities that they love to do, whether it was like playing music or juggling a soccer ball, or even like if they're into running, I saw people running in circles on their roof just to get some like steps in, and like working out in general. And just like during this like very dark, uncertain time, I like naturally just saw people being positive and New Yorkers being resilient. And so even while I remember like specifically, like I didn't like realize this until after I photographed the series. But at first I just saw people going on their roofs and I just started photographing it because it was a spectacle and it was interesting. And then I realized, wait, this is like celebrating people's resiliency, New Yorkers' resiliency. So
I mean, it's a really, I think you nailed it when you said that there's no way to recreate it. Like, it was a moment in time, and you captured it in a really cool way. I think my favorite thing that I saw was someone playing tennis on the roof, hitting a ball against the wall. I thought that was very cool. Jerm, thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope that it was everything you dreamed of and more. Where can the people find you, and what do you want to plug real quick before we go?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alexei. You could find me on Instagram at Jerm Cohen. You could find me on TikTok at Jeremy Cohen. You could find me in Brooklyn. I'm around. And you could find me on Find My Friends. If we're close enough, I'll send you my location.
Damn, that's an invitation for you to Find My Friends. And of course, don't forget to go check out the Meet Cutes book, right? That's a big thing to get. And I guess listeners, thank you for listening. Viewers, thank you for viewing. I'm still not used to calling people viewers because YouTube, it's new to me. I've been editing videos for it for like 15 years, but here I am on it. You can go to tapeclub.substack.com where you can support. We're all DIY. We're listener supported, or we're supported by our own debt, right? So this thing, if you support it, that money is going to go right back into the thing. Right now we make one cassette a quarter. We might make more cassettes, ideally, if we have the money. But even if you don't support, thank you for listening, because it's really fun to do this show, and I don't want to stop. Jerm, thank you again, and listeners, thank you, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
The J-Card podcast is a fully independent production. It is made possible by listeners and viewers just like you. So if you want to support us, tapeclub.substack.com is the place to go.